What's going on, guys? Sir Nerds a Lot here, and today we are back with another video of Warframe builds. We're going to be looking at the Corinth, which I think is one of the best shotguns in this game. I'd say it's even better than the Arcoplasmor, which I know is a lot of people's favorite shotgun right now. But I think this one does just more raw damage, and that's what I really like in a shotgun. So please don't flame me too much. You can give your opinions in the comments, but trust me, when you go through this build with me and I talk about some of the experience that I have, I think that you may lean a little bit more in my direction. So let's jump right in. Alright, so before I get started by listing out all of these mods, I will say that you'll need at least one formula to be able to put these high capacity mods on here. I had this thing built up except for the last two mods on here, and it was still pretty good. I mean, I was still one-shotting level 45 enemies at range, and for a shotgun, that's good. Like, I could go to, what is it, a CAD on Eris, the Dark Sector mission, and I can be, on one side of the pod, like on that ledge there, and they could be coming from the ramp on the other side of the pod, where you're facing that side, and I can aim at them and they are gone. Like, they disappear from range, and that's before I put this format on here and got those last two mods on here. So bear that in mind as we go through this, because I'm sure now that it's fully built, I could probably one-shot level 50 plus enemies, and I may have to kind of close the gap as their levels increase. So let's get into the mods. Point blank. So my point blank's not even maxed out, and it was doing this amount of damage, which is crazy to me. I'm 2 away from maxing out my primed point blank, so I've only got the 135% damage, but once that's maxed out, I will need to form this weapon again. So if you have yours maxed out and you have all these other mods maxed out, you will need 2 forms to fit it all, because you can see on the screen I have 0 capacity right now. So just keep that in mind. The next mod we're going to look at is Ravage. So I did a crit build because this gun had, I believe, 26% crit chance to start with. So I did Ravage, applies another 60% critical damage. So we got brought up from, I think, 2.2 times damage to 4.5. I've seen higher multipliers, but with shotguns, they do so much raw damage to begin with. You don't want to put that too high. If this got up to like 8 times damage, I'd be able to one-shot level 100 enemies. I promise you. Enemies? Let's try enemies. So moving on to this next mod, Hell's Chamber multi-shot. I really didn't want to use multi-shot on this, but I had to at least try it, and my gosh, it really works with this, especially because your extra shots can also crit because of our build. That is amazing. So if all of that hits one target, they're dead in a single shot. It's amazing. Blunderbuss, again, we are doing a crit build. This gives us 90% critical chance. I did look for other mods that did critical chance that would work for shotguns. I haven't found anything yet. I thought that one of the set mods would increase my critical chance, but I believe that's for a different weapon slot, so it won't work on our shotgun, unfortunately. But we're at a 50%, sorry, not 50%, 57% crit chance, which I think is amazing. You crit most of the time, you see them very often, so don't worry about not being able to see your crits happen. All right. Next, we've got Blaze. Blaze is an amazing mod altogether. It's kind of broken in my opinion. 60% more just damage in general, and then on top of that, the 60% heat, which combines with our next mod, Shell Shock, which gives us that 60% electricity and creates our radiation. So I was saying earlier that this weapon, I think, rivals and even surpasses the Arcoplasmor. Arcoplasmor straight up only deals radiation damage. The best thing about the Arcoplasmor is that it has a very wide hitbox, so you can hit multiple enemies with the one shot, and do a ton of damage to them. That's great and all, but where I've got this build kind of aiming for is you've got the impact, slash, and puncture. They're all pretty high. They're all really high numbers, and the radiation is at 6,000 on this build. So any of those procking, it helps you fight more more variety of enemies, we'll say. Whereas the Archoplasmor is just only things that are going to be weak against radiation, unless you build a secondary stat on it. I would recommend corrosive probably, but anyway, that's a build for another video. Our next mod is going to be Accelerated Blast. Now this thing doesn't necessarily need the fire rate. It does fire fast enough where you can turn from one enemy, kill him, turn to another one, kill him, and be just fine. But I wanted this on here to boost that puncture. Another mod that you could put on here if you want, and this is not the be all end all build. Let me go ahead and say that. I probably should have said this earlier. This build is not the be all end all build. There are some mods that can help this build that are not on here. We only have 8 slots for mods, so you gotta pick and choose with this build, especially when you're trying to add the elements. So that there's a little bit of a disclaimer there. I do not claim that this is the best build. It is a good build. All right. And then finally we've got the Scattering Inferno. I wanted, if I was gonna have that radiation, I wanted to add the status chance proc. Make it easier to get these enemies confused so that they'll leave us alone. And so we've got 49.1%, which I think is just fine. I could, I don't know, maybe put Shotgun Savvy on there, or that's really it. I mean, that's about the only other thing, because we don't want to start throwing other elemental mods on here and kind of just getting a rainbow build. We want very basic focused build. So what I will say is, you could, if you didn't want to go the route of procking that radiation, I would swap out that Scattering Inferno or the Shell Shock. Well, we'll say Scattering Inferno because Shell Shock is the only electric mod on here. So swap out that Scattering Inferno and put Flechette on. Flechette adds more puncture damage. I've got 2 of them here, whatever. But yeah, Flechette gives you more of that puncture damage, which will then increase your crit damage even further, I believe. Yeah, it's really good. I do love this build. Again, you can switch things out to your liking, but I think this is a good base. You can take this into high level areas. I mean, I guarantee it, because again, I took this build without the Accelerated Blast and the Scattering Inferno and was one-shotting level 45 enemies, which is crazy. Okay, that's almost unheard of. So just trust me when I say this build is going to keep you afloat when you're facing level 50 plus enemies. So let me know what you think about this build. Let me know what you think about the video in the comment section, please. I need your feedback so I can make better videos. Maybe comment on some things you'd like to see builds for, and just give me some time to max those things out, find out what mods I got that work with these weapons or warframes, and see what I can come out with. All right. And if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to this channel and make sure you click those post notifications so you know when I post a video. All right. So thank you guys for watching. And if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, and we'll see you next time. See ya.